don't make mistakes. And when things are a mess, you always know the way. You always know the way. You are perfect every single day, in every single way. I don't have to worry. You're perfect when I don't know what to do. Yes, I know it's true. I don't have to worry. You're perfect. Yeah, I know you are. Perfect. Yeah, I know you are. You are perfect every single day, in every single way. So I don't have to worry. You're perfect when I don't know what to do. Yes, I know it's true. I don't have to worry. You're perfect. Yeah, I know you are. Perfect. Yeah, I know you are. Check it out. Perfect.
Your plans for me are good. You hold my future. You're working all the time. You're the mountain mover. From sunrise to sunset, till the sun comes back up again. You're by my side. You started a good work in me. I know that you will complete it. You will see it through, yeah. I know that you're still working on me, and everything that you say you'll do, 'cause I believe that you are faithful, oh, you are faithful, oh, you are faithful. I'll trust your every word, 'cause I believe that you're working for my good. Yes, you're committed. From sunrise to sunset, till the sun comes back up again. You're by my side. You started a good work in me. I know that you will complete it. You will see it through, yeah. I know that you're still working on me, and everything that you say you'll do, 'cause I believe that you are faithful, oh, you are faithful, oh, you are faithful. You are my hope, you are my future. You are the mountain mover. You are faithful. You are my hope, you are my future. You are the mountain mover. You are faithful. You started a good work in me. I know that you will complete it. You will see it through, yeah. I know that you're still working on me, and everything that you say you'll do, 'cause I believe that you are faithful, oh, you are faithful, you are faithful, oh, you are faithful, oh, you are faithful, oh, you are faithful.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, welcome to FX, our family worship experience here at Stuttgart Harvest Church and the church in Malvern. We have a great FX planned for this afternoon, and I hope that all of our families are going to take part. Mom, dad, brother, sister, whether you're connected with Stuttgart Harvest Church or you're connected with the church in Malvern, we're going to have a ton of fun here for about the next 20 minutes or so. So get comfortable, and before we get started, before we talk about First Look in 252 this month, we are going going to play a game, and I hope all of our families will play this with us. We want this to be an interactive experience, and in fact, we want to know who wins the game in your household. You can let us know by sending us a Facebook or posting that on Facebook, or maybe just post it on your personal page and say, hey, I won the memory game in FX with Stuttgart Harvest Church in 252. But the name of the game is the memory game. So I'm going to try to explain to you how this is going to work. First, I'm going to show you a picture, and that picture will have several things in it. So there will be basically a picture with about 7 or 8 different items, and I'm going to give you about 5 seconds or so to look at it, memorize it, and get a picture in your mind of the items that are in that picture. Then we're going to show you another picture, and that picture will have one item removed. And then you guess what that item is. The first person to holler out in your family, in your household, what the missing item is, wins a point. We'll do it 3 times, and then at the end of the game, whoever has the most points in your family is the winner in your household. And be sure and let us know. Post it on your social media page, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. Post that. Let us know that you're taking part in this and you're interacting with us here with our family worship experience as a family in your household. So, does everybody understand the rules? You got plenty of time. Everybody's comfortable. We're fixing to have some fun. Y'all play this with us. So we're fixing to put the first picture up there. Remember, this picture has all of the items on it. Look at it. Commit it to memory. Our picture is up on the screen right now. So go ahead. Take a look at that. We're going to leave it up there for 3, 2, 1. Okay, so everybody should have an idea of what's in that picture and the different items that you saw. Now we're going to throw another picture up, and we're going to take one item off, and the first person that can holler out what the missing item is wins the point. We're going to give you 10 seconds this time. The picture's up there right now. All right, so what item is missing from the picture? You've got 3, 2, 1. All right, did you guys get it? What was the missing item? Who got it? All right, let's go ahead and throw up the original picture first. All right, everybody see that? Now, what is the item that's missing? It is that's right, it's the pen. So if you were the first in your family to holler it was the pen, you get a point. All right, we're going to do that 2 more times. So everybody should have a pretty good idea how this game works now. So we're going to throw that picture, that original picture up again. It's on your screen for 5 seconds. Notice everything's up there. 3, 2, 1. Okay, now we're going to put another picture up, and the pen will be missing, and then there's going to be another item missing out of that picture. You've got 10 seconds. The first person to see what item is missing, holler it out, and it's going to be up there right now. All right, so look at it. We know the pen is missing. There's something else missing. What is it? Probably someone has already shouted it out in your household. You've got 3, 2, 1. Did you get it? Did you get it? What was it? Let's throw up the original picture first. Let's see everything that was there originally. There's the pen. We know that's there. And yeah, that's right. There's no spool of thread. So the pen was missing in the first one. The spool of thread was missing in the second one. So whoever got that first in your household, they get a point. All right, we're going to do it one more time. This is the last chance. One more time. The complete picture is on your screen right now. So you've got 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, everybody committed that to memory, right? Now the pen's going to be gone this time. The spool of thread is going to be gone this time. So the first person that can see the third thing that is missing from the picture, shout it out in your household. It's going to go on the screen right now. All right, what is it? Everybody see? Of course, the pen's gone. The spool of thread is gone. But what is the other thing that's missing? You've got 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Did you get it? Did you get it? What was it? Well, let's throw the original picture up one more time. Of course, it's got the spool of thread and the pen. And then let's put the other picture up. What is missing? That's right, the bracelet. So the first picture, it was the pin. The second picture, it was the spool of thread. And the third picture, it was the bracelet. So whoever got that first in your household, they get a point. Now, whoever has the most points in your household, they win the game. And I think the person that wins the game should get to pick whatever they want to have for supper one night this week. So let's just say you won the game and you want to have pizza on Friday night. I think your household should eat pizza because that's what you want to have. Of course, that's with your parents' permission as well. But we do know that some of those decisions might have been a little bit difficult to make. They might have been some tough decisions. Did you know that the average adult makes up to 35,000 decisions every single day? 35,000 decisions for the average adult per day. Now, some of those decisions are really easy, right? Whether we should tie our shoe or not tie our shoe, whether we should brush our teeth or not brush our teeth. I mean, some of our decisions that we have to make are pretty easy. But some decisions that we have to make, they're not as easy. They're a little more difficult. And sometimes we might even struggle to know what to do out of all of those 35,000 decisions. Should I lie? Should I tell the truth? Should I gossip so that I can fit in with this group or that group? What do we do? How do we know what is the correct decision to make? Well, this month, the month of May, in First Look. And First Look, that's our preschool age kiddos. But this month in First Look, we hope to be able to teach our preschoolers something that will help them make those decisions one day when they get older. And that's to jump, and go God's way in May. Jump, go God's way. In fact, that's our theme for the month of May is jump, and go God's way. We're teaching them that they can trust going God's way no matter what. And here's why. And it's going to be on your screen because our bottom line is this. God's way is perfect. God's way is perfect. That's our bottom line this month. And our memory verse even says the same thing. It comes from 2 Samuel chapter 22, verse 31, and where it says, again, God's way is perfect. So if you would, while you're at home, mom, dad, brother, sister, whoever, say that with me. God's way is perfect. 2 Samuel 22, 31. See, this morning at the church in Malvern, as well as in Stuttgart Harvest Church, we talked about what life was like in the Garden of Eden. We talked about how in the garden, everything was perfect. We talked about how God introduced us not only to Himself in the garden, He also introduced us to His perfect plan, where everything was perfect. The food, the animals, the flowers, they were all perfect. And God has a way of doing things. And it works out best for us if we do things His way. Why? That's right, our bottom line. God's way is perfect. Now in week 2, we're going to take another step as we talk about how God's way is perfect. And we're going to talk about the story of a man by the name of Jonah. Now Jonah had some choices to make. And, well, we're going to learn in week 2 in First Look that things turned out a whole lot better for Jonah when he went God's way instead of going his own way. And we're going to find out how Jonah eventually figured out that, yeah, our bottom line is true. God's way is perfect. And then we're going to step another week ahead in week 3, and we're going to learn about a man by the name of Naaman. You've probably never heard of Naaman. But Naaman is a really interesting story from the Old Covenant. And Naaman is going to show us what it looks like when we have to make a really, really, really tough decision. But fortunately for Naaman, he chose to go God's way. And what we want our preschoolers to know this month, in week 3 specifically, is that they can choose to go God's way even when it's difficult, even when it's hard. Why? Bottom line, God's way is perfect. And then in week 4, we're going to learn about young King Josiah. Now, King Josiah didn't just believe that God's way was perfect. King Josiah, he actually went God's way. And King Josiah also told others about God's way and how God's way was perfect. And we hope that our preschoolers in First Look at the church in Malvern and in Stuttgart Harvest Church will learn that even though they're young, they can tell others about God and how God's way is perfect. And then we're going to wrap up our month in week 5 talking about a man by the name of Gideon. Now, Gideon, man, he had to really trust God in his life. And he had to really trust God because, well, things were kind of complicated for Gideon. And he had to trust that God's way was perfect. And we're going to talk all about that in week 5 at Stuttgart Harvest Church and the church at Malvern. And here's why we're doing that. Because we really believe, that the first step to making wise choices in our life is just trusting that God's way is in fact perfect. And our prayer as we move forward in this month and as we continue on having the opportunity to get to know your preschooler in Stuttgart and in Malvern is that we can make many of the 35,000 choices that they're going to have to make when they get older. We want those choices and those decisions to be a little bit easier so that they'll know they can jump, and go God's way. Why? That's right, because God's way is perfect.
Have you ever decided to do something really big? Like learn how to play guitar? Or, make friends with the new kid down the street? Maybe you even want to bake a master chef-worthy cake for your mom's birthday. You're super excited to get started, but then you sit down with the guitar and... oh, no. Or you spend all morning working up the nerve to go knock on the new kid's door, and it turns out he's gone for a week of summer camp. Then you find the recipe for that amazing cake, and it's crazy. Doing big things takes work. It takes making a plan and then sticking with it. There are calluses along the way, patience and courage in building a friendship, and definitely some mess. But when you follow through, you find the music, you grow a friendship, you create amazing edible art. And through it all, others can see how God has given you the strength to stick with it. That's why commitment is an amazing way to worship God with your life, because worship is about more than just singing loud. It's all about living loud.
Race medals. There's just something great about getting one of these babies placed around your neck. You know? I mean, just finishing a race is really special. In fact, a medal or a trophy or a ring, it really doesn't just represent a single race or a single game. It represents the initiative to be willing to sign up. It represents the hours and the hours and the hours of practice, running laps and getting into shape to be able to compete. It represents the commitment to stay with it, even when you wanted to quit. If you want to run a race, you got to practice. If you want to play a game or play a sport, you've got to practice. If you want to play an instrument, you have to practice. And the same goes for faith. To grow in our relationship with God and to mature in our relationship with God, it takes practice. And practice takes commitment. In fact, that is our life app in 252 in both Stuttgart and Malvern for the month of May. It's commitment. We've defined commitment like this. We say that commitment is making a plan and putting it into place. Making a plan and putting it into place. And we thought that it would be great to let kids know that as much as they practice for their sports teams, or as much as they practice that instrument, or as much as they study to get good grades in school, it's important to train and to practice in our faith. That idea is highlighted in our memory verse for the month of May, which was written in a letter by the Apostle Paul that he wrote It's 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 8. And in that letter, Paul said this. He said, training the body has some value. But being godly has value in every way. It promises help for the life that you're now living and the life to come. And this morning at Stuttgart Harvest Church and in the church at Malvern in 252, we talked about that verse. And we talked about another verse that Paul wrote, the Apostle Paul wrote. And it comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 24 and 25. And there Paul talks about training to win the prize. But he talks about how we're not just training to win the prize, but we're actually training for much more than a gold medal in a race. We're showing the whole world by training and practicing and being committed. We're showing the entire world what it really looks like to trust Jesus with our whole lives. Our bottom line this morning was keep practicing what matters most. But what matters most? What really matters the most? Well, interestingly enough, Jesus told us what matters most. Jesus told us that what matters most is love. Love for God and love for others. But I've got to be honest with you, that's not natural for me. That doesn't come natural to me, and it probably doesn't come natural to anyone who's watching right now. For that reason, every few years we like to come back around and talk about some faith skills, some life skills to help us be able to practice. And we use 4 words when we talk about those life skills. Those 4 words are this. We use the words hear, pray, talk, and live. In fact, for the remainder of May in 252 in both Stuttgart and in Malvern, we're going to be taking each one of those words over the next few weeks, or the next 4 weeks, and we're going to be talking about them. In fact, next week we're going to talk about the word hear. Hear. We want kids to learn how to hear from God by highlighting Jesus' parable about the wise and foolish builders. Bottom line next week, practice hearing from God. Our next life skill that we're going to talk about in week 3 at the church in Malvern and Stuttgart Harvest Church is pray. In week 3, we hope our kids understand that praying is a really important part of faith. And to help with that, to help with prayer, because let's be honest, many of us, we don't know how to pray. To help with that, we're talking about how Jesus taught his followers to pray. Bottom line, practice praying to God. Now, week 4, it's my favorite. Week 4 is the word talk. And we can know God better by talking about him to others. We want kids to know that they can talk about God and work through their questions and, hey, even their doubts by talking to others who believe in Jesus. Week 4, bottom line, practice talking about God. And finally, in week 5, we're going to wrap the entire month of May up by talking about live. See, we know that a lot of kids, they love to sing, they love to dance, they love to worship God in those different ways, but worship isn't something that we just do at church, or we just do in 252, or we just do in a children's ministry. Worship is really how we honor God with our lives. Every day, moment by moment, and decision by decision. How we love others, and how we serve others. How we give our time, and how we give our talents. That's how we live, and that's how we worship. Bottom line in week 5, practice living for God. We absolutely cannot wait to see what God is going to do this month in the life of our school-age 252 kids in Stuttgart and Malvern, as well as what God's going to do in the lives of the families of our 252 kids as we commit to practice our faith and grow in our relationship with God. I really appreciate you guys for sitting down and spending some time with us on our family worship experience this month. I hope you had a lot of fun. I hope that you'll consider coming back next month, because we're going to do this again on June the 6th. That's the first Sunday in June, 5 o'clock, right here on the Facebook platform with the church in Malvern and Stuttgart Harvest Church. I hope you come back, and I hope you have a family worship experience time together with us again on June the 6th. And even as important as that, and probably more important than that, I hope we get to see you guys next week at either Stuttgart Harvest Church or the church in Malvern. See you guys later.
just begun. A brand new day, no time to waste. Gonna get it done. So many plans, so much to do. But that's okay, I'm gonna see it through. 'Cause day after day and time after time, I'm gonna do what I say. I made up my mind, I follow through, don't you forget it. Oh yeah, it's true, you know I'm committed. I follow through, don't you forget it. Oh yeah, it's true, you know I'm committed. Gonna make a plan, I know I can see it to the end. Every moment I keep on and do the best I can. I won't give in, I won't give up. No, gotta give my all and that's enough. Hey, 'cause day after day and time after time, I'm gonna do what I say. I made up my mind, I follow through, don't you forget it. Oh yeah, it's true, you know I'm committed. I follow through, don't you forget it. Oh yeah, it's true, you know I'm committed. 'Cause day after day and time after time, I'm gonna do what I say. I made up my mind, I follow through, don't you forget it. Oh yeah, it's true, you know I'm committed. I follow through, don't you forget it. Oh yeah, it's true, you know I'm committed. I won't give in, oh, I won't give up, no. Gonna give my all, yeah, and that's enough. I won't give in, oh, I won't give up, no. Gonna give my all, yeah, and that's enough. 'Cause day after day and time after time, I'm gonna do just what I say. And I made up my mind, I follow through, don't you forget it. Oh yeah, it's true, you know I'm committed. I follow through, don't you forget it. Oh yeah, it's true, you know I'm committed. 'Cause day after day and time after time, I'm gonna do what I say. I made up my mind, I follow through, don't you forget it. Oh yeah, it's true, you know I'm committed. I follow through, don't you forget it. Oh yeah, it's true, you know I'm committed. Monday morning, I've been running, it's just begun. A brand new day, no time to waste. Gonna get it done. So many plans, so much to do. But that's okay, I'm gonna see it through. 'Cause day after day and time after time, I'm gonna do what I say. I made up my mind, I follow through, don't you forget it. Oh yeah, it's true, you know I'm committed. I follow through, don't you forget it. Oh yeah, it's true, you know I'm committed. Gonna make a plan, I know I can see it to the end. Every moment I keep on and do the best I can. I won't